So this is open source trading where we share trades freely. So the last trade we had was, we're looking at some pairs here, which included gold, Bitcoin, and then CHF JPY. That was like 13 days ago. And for the last 13 days, we've been trading and making some money on these two pairs, especially gold and then CHF JPY. And today we just want to continue with Bitcoin because Bitcoin is at a very critical price level. So with that being said, let me take you to the charts and then we'll look at Bitcoin. So this is Bitcoin from the yearly time frame. It is at a good price area of interest and we would like to take some trading opportunities of it. So of course, price is at this high here, and this is why we are interested. Once price reach a particular high, so a lows, we get interested. And this is what I always emphasize in our tweet storm here, where we follow up with the trades that we're going to take. So I had said, once a particular asset class reaches either an all-time highs or lows, then interest begins. And then I was like, Bitcoin is approaching an all-time highs. And of course, the following Bitstorm, if you open it, you come and see here, we had the Bitcoin chart, the trade analysis, which we had shared here, this one 13 days ago. And the update now came in, Bitcoin just hit all-time highs, time to watch closely for a reversal pattern. So let's look at Bitcoin at all-time highs, and then we'll also focus on the rest. So this is Bitcoin chart. You can see clearly here, this strong candle here created for us a price difference on the yearly, and we have our yearly high here, meaning that is the area in which we're going to look for reversal pattern. So once we have that, we can come to the monthly time frame, and I'm also doing a multi-market time frame breakdown. So this is what we have, a strong area of resistance on the monthly time frame. And then maybe when you come to the weekly, you can still see we have this week, which has not yet closed. We have about 12 hours for the closure. And finally, when you come to look at this, you realize this is another price difference area, meaning if price is to reverse to the downside here, this is where we will look for possible support formation area, and then maybe these other areas here where structure was broken. So once we have clearly stated, we can now come to a lower time frame, say the 4-hourly. And on the 4-hourly, you can clearly see how price is reacting to this all-time high, which is the resistance area. Now, the next thing you would want to see here for us to actually be able to trade is waiting for those patterns. Now you can clearly see here, we have a head which has already been formed. And then if you look to your left here, we have our shoulders around this area here. So the thing we want to see now is the ability for price to continue to the downside here and giving us patterns, then we can take it to here. If that doesn't happen and price pulls back into this area and gives us a pattern, we shall also trade from here, or if price pushes back here. So the whole idea is if price does not break above this area here to continue to the upside, we will be looking for selling opportunities. And of course, once we get the selling opportunities, I will be able to send them into the group like we've been doing. So talking about what we've been doing in the group, let me just give you an highlight for the last 13 days. So of course, we started with this video that was like 13 days ago, where we were talking about gold, Bitcoin, and CHF pairs. So we were able to get trades on gold and then CHF pairs, but we didn't get on gold. I mean on Bitcoin, and that is what we have now. So with that being said, we had to, this is what happens throughout the week, and this is gold. We're looking for gold to come to an all-time highs, and you can clearly see here that gold instead pushed to the downside, and then from the downside, we're looking for buying opportunities from here, and this is exactly what was sent into the group, and this is what happened. A week, and when it was ready, I was like, looks like this is the signal. So some of my signals, sometimes they come from a street storm just to have that clear record. So you can clearly tell when we sent this out, that was on 20th. So this was the setup and that was the signal. So we're like, gold, looks like it's time. Looks like it is time to buy gold and hold it up to all-time highs. Then I was like, let me bet 1% on it and see how it plays out. That is also the risk management package that we do with that. You don't want to just have that. And this is what has been happening for gold. That was like 2 days after that, we had about 900 pips move to our side from the buys. And then we closed up the week with these buys about 1,000 pips, and we are holding this to all-time highs. So we are not worried about holding it to all-time highs because we have broken even and we've taken some partial profits. So the rest is to swing it to all-time highs all the way to that. And then we also had a trade on CHF pairs because remember we had talked about CHF JPY and we wanted to trade on it. And this is the trade for CHF pair. This is what I was looking at, and I told the guys, CHF potential sell, use proper risk management. And this is the sell we had, and this is the result of that sell trade and how we've been making money. So we made money on those two pairs. And now we are left with gold and Bitcoin. So the way we want to trade gold is basically as simple as we want gold at an all-time highs. So once gold is able to reach to an all-time highs, we can begin to have our trading opportunities. And we cannot just wait for it to come to an all-time high. We have to take trading advantage. And this is where we got the trade, an inverse head and shoulders. And we are hoping price comes all the way up to these highs. So when price reaches these all highs, which is an all-time high here. So let me just wrap everything up and show you from the weekly how this all-time high is relevant. So once price reaches here, that's when we're supposed to be interested in looking for selling opportunities. But we had to look for a trade here. And this is the trade. If you look at this structure here, this is where market had broken. This is our price difference area. When price returned to this area, we're looking for patterns around this region. And if you can study this here, you realize this is our inverse head and shoulders here. And then we had a trade, an entry from here. And now we are riding this all the way up to this. And once we are here, we'll look for patterns, head and shoulders, double top, triple top, and then we can sell to the downside. But if price continues to go up, that is actually more better. We can now begin to look for fresh patterns up there. But of course, we know price will react here. But the overall idea is to have it all the way to the uptrend. So this is what we're going to be looking at throughout the week, how gold will go to an all-time highs, and then how we can best trade Bitcoin and make money. So what I want to argue is that some of these signals here, they are based on what will happen. We are not trading what has happened. You know, most people analyze the market based on what has already happened. Here we try to predict the future, and then once we get the confirmation, the trade is sent into the group. If you look for the last 5 months that we've been trading, you will see exactly what I'm talking about. Every trade that we called has played out, and we called it before it happens. And that is what we will continue to do. So if you find value, you can subscribe, refer the page to other people, and we all win. You know, we win by making money together.